In 1970, Congress passed the Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act and the Controlled Substances Act. The Controlled Substances Act created the drug schedule system. The relevant statute provides, quote, "The findings required for each of the schedules are as follows. Schedule 1. A. The drug or other substance has a high potential for abuse. B. The drug or other substance has no currently accepted medical use in treatment in the United States. And C. There is a lack of accepted safety for use of the drug or other substance under medical supervision." Close quote. Ask yourself, do you think marijuana satisfies parts B and C of this definition? There was some controversy over whether or not marijuana belonged in Schedule 1, with conflicting testimony and evidence on both sides. The version of the CSA that ultimately became law empowered the Attorney General to decide whether to schedule new drugs and whether to reschedule existing drugs, but with binding input from the Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare Department. By the way, HEW is now the Health and Human Services Department. This did not resolve the controversy over where exactly marijuana belonged in the CSA schedule system. So Congress and the Attorney General characterized marijuana as a Schedule 1 drug, but promised to revisit the issue once the science was settled. In order to reach such a scientific consensus, the CSA established a Presidential Commission on Marijuana and Drug Abuse. The committee report on the House bill noted, quote, "The commission will be of aid in determining the appropriate disposition of the marijuana scheduling question in the future." So in 1970, Congress created the National Commission on Marijuana and Drug Abuse. This commission had 13 members. The President appointed 9, and Congress appointed 4. In 1970, Richard Nixon was president. When commenting on the then newly appointed commission, Nixon said, quote, "I am against legalizing marijuana. Even if the commission does recommend that it be legalized, I will not follow that recommendation." Close quote. Because of Nixon's well-known anti-marijuana position, critics thought that the deck was stacked against marijuana's rescheduling out of Schedule 1 because Nixon got to appoint 9 members of the commission. In March 1972, the commission issued its report. The report rejected the gateway drug theory and rejected the theory that marijuana causes crime. 2 days after the commission's report, President Nixon said, quote, "I oppose the legalization of marijuana, and that includes sale, possession, and use. I do not believe that you can have effective criminal justice based on a philosophy that something is half legal and half illegal." Close quote. Law enforcement officials also condemned the commission's report. In October 1972, 6 months after the commission's report, President Nixon declared drug abuse to be, quote, "America's public enemy number 1." Despite the science to the contrary, Nixon's anti-marijuana position was well documented. For example, in March 1973, Nixon said, quote, "In recent days, there have been proposals to legalize the possession and use of marijuana. I oppose the legalization of the sale, possession, or use of marijuana. The line against the use of dangerous drugs is now drawn on this side of marijuana. If we move the line to the other side and accept the use of this drug, how can we draw the line against other illegal drugs? There must continue to be criminal sanctions against the possession, sale, or use of marijuana." Around the same time, H.R. Haldeman, Nixon's chief of staff, wrote in his diary, quote, "Nixon emphasized that you have to face the fact that the whole drug problem is really the blacks. The key is to devise a system that recognizes this while not appearing to." Close quote. On May 26, 1971, in a conversation in the Oval Office between Nixon and Haldeman, Nixon was recorded saying, quote, "I want a goddamn strong statement on marijuana. Can I get that out of this son of a bitching domestic council? I mean one on marijuana that just tears the ass out of them. You know, it's a funny thing. Every one of the bastards that are out for legalizing marijuana is Jewish. What the Christ is the matter with the Jews, Bob? What is the matter with them? By God, we are going to hit the marijuana thing, and I want to hit it right square in the puss. Close quote. So, under the Nixon administration, marijuana was classified a Schedule I drug, and it has remained so ever since.